Well, the Jurassic World Super Bowl spot is finally aired, and if you're anything like us, you've been waiting for this thing ever since the first trailer dropped back in November. While this trailer is not as long as the first one, there was still enough revealed that we can overanalyze everything as we often like to do here. I'm going to go over a few things that you may or may not have missed the first time around, and talk about things a little bit more in depth. Let's stop hanging around like some grazing apatosaurs and get started. The first thing isn't too groundbreaking, but it's one of the things that Colin Trevorrow and his team set out to do when making this movie. In the shot, we see a bunch of people anxiously waiting the arrival of the mosasaur. All except for Nick Robinson's character Zach, who's too preoccupied in whatever he's doing on his phone. The team basically wanted to show how technology has become such a big part of our lives that it's taking away from the beauty of scientific miracles that happen around us every day. Up next we have Simon Masrani, played by the always slick Irfan Khan. For those of you who may not know, Irfan Khan's a very popular actor from Bollywood, starring in many hits such as The Lunchbox, which I highly suggest you check out. If you're not keeping up to date with the Masrani Global website, I'll quickly run over who Simon Masrani is. Simon Masrani plays the CEO of Masrani Global, who ended up acquiring InGen in 1998 after the death of John Hammond in 1997. His plan was to make Jurassic World, a fully functioning dinosaur theme park. Masrani is also the person responsible for getting Dr. Henry Wu back on the Jurassic World project after his failures at Jurassic Park. Also, based on rumors and what we've seen so far, I think it's safe to say that the Indominus Rex is partly Simon Masrani's idea. Now let's run over some things quickly before moving on. During the mosasaur feeding show, we hear a park announcer announcing the arrival of the big bad mosasaur right before he grabs the shark. The announcer is played by Courtney James Clark. On the topic of characters, let's move on to our first look at Omar Sy. We now know he plays Barry, who is Chris Pratt's bud in the movie. In an interview with IGN some months ago, Colin Trevorrow also stated that they would like to continue future storylines with Chris Pratt and Omar Sy's characters. And the last character we'll talk about might be Katie McGrath. In the scene when the pterosaurs start attacking Main Street, we can see this unfortunate lady get picked up and presumably carried off to her untimely demise. Looking closely, you can see how this character sort of resembles Katie McGrath. We also got a lot of better looks at some of the dinosaurs, including the Stegosaurus, the Triceratops, and the Apatosaurus, with the Dimorphodons, the Pteranodons, and the Velociraptors rounding out some of the more dangerous threats. But the biggest dinosaur we get to see is the Indominus Rex. This hybrid freak of nature created by the park's geneticists, and presumably the guys in suits, we get to see the Indominus Rex do some damage and ruin the days of these two guys here. Up next is the dying Apatosaur. In this shot you can see Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters comforting an Apatosaur, which has presumably been attacked by the Indominus Rex. But what you may not have noticed is that the Apatosaur head is actually an animatronic, so hopefully people that have been worrying Jurassic World will be fully CGI can rest at ease now. Up next is Chris Pratt and his Raptor squad. Here we see Chris Pratt doing what looks to be stopping 3 of his 4 raptors from doing something they probably shouldn't be doing, like eating another human, which they probably will do. And honestly, Chris Pratt looks to be a little scared of what he's doing. I mean, who wouldn't though? When in reality, it should be the raptors who are scared of Chris Pratt, aka Star-Lord. It should also be noted that each raptor looks different and is given its own name. Based on reports of the Jurassic World toys made by Hasbro, we know that the raptors seen here are named Delta, Blue, and Charlie, with Echo being off-screen. All of the raptor names are military names except for Blue, which could indicate that Chris Pratt's character could have a different relationship with that raptor than the others. Either way, Blue doesn't look to be too happy with what Chris Pratt is telling them. It seems as though Chris Pratt's character has a good enough handle on the raptors as we see them running alongside him and listening to his commands in this trailer. Despite seeing all that, we still don't know if the raptors can be fully trained, as they could snap on Chris Pratt's character at any time. The last things you might have missed aren't too significant, but they're still pretty cool. There are a lot of shots in this trailer that are very similar to shots seen in the first Jurassic Park movie. The dying Apatosaur is very similar to the sick Triceratops. The shot of the helicopter approaching Isla Nublar, and the Indominus Rex attacking the gyrosphere mirrors the Tyrannosaur attacking Tim and Lex in the old Ford Explorer. That just about does it for this video. Thank you for joining me. Let us know, did you like the trailer? Did you not like the trailer? Any ideas on what was shown? Let us know below. Make sure you tune in to our longer analysis where Jack, Chris, and I go deeper into the trailer. And join us on our next podcast coming out later this week. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.